Welcome to the Echo Essentials podcast.
I'm Scott Clark.
And I'm Dave Dale. Today we have, we're going to talk about high water on Lake Nipissing. We're going to talk about midwifery. Lisa Boyvan's To North Bay with Love show has an exceptional guest today. And we have North Bay's favorite international student, Uphar, that's going to interview Mayor Peter Chirico.
Dave, the water levels are high. And the one thing, so we're right at First Rocky Point, and we have a lower piece to our property. And you know the water's high. I think it was the last time, 2019? There was high water levels, did a lot of damage. It's like the whole lower area is completely flooded. Now we don't have anything here, it's just grass, but you know it's high when all the water it just floods it. The biggest thing I notice about all that, yes, there'll be some damage and that, and then you have to, fix a lot of things. I'm shocked how much garbage it comes up into this area. Because we're sort of like First Rockies right behind Eastside Mario's. It's shocking the amount of garbage that comes up on shore.
Oh yeah,
beer cans and
from the ice
plastics
fishing.
And
from the ice fishing.
I know. I'm used to seeing, like, you'll see different, people boost up their ice huts and stuff. So you'll get these like 4x4s and things like that will float up like small chunks because that's how they get stuck in the ice and you can't get them back out again, right? So I get that. But the amount of garbage is shocking.
It's terrible. Yeah,
it is terrible. Because if we didn't have the flooding, it wouldn't be on my property. It would be somewhere else, but it will be somewhere else. It's quite shocking. Plastic bottles, tons of beer cans. It's quite shocking.
Yeah. I've had a couple people, yourself and two others, ask me, why is the water so high? Who are they protecting down on the French? I just had somebody else called me. Yeah.
The conspiracy of the Lower French. Yeah. I will say, though, you can start seeing in this we didn't have as much rain as predicted this past weekend, but it is slowly going down. I can see it with different markers, right, that it's slowly going down. But I'm working with Conservation Authority now. I have been for about a year, and now I have my application and I'll have to fix my shore. But there's a lot of work you have to do, working with the Conservation Authority and M&R and doing all that. Then you have to get building people to come in and just for rock. It's and then how do you get this big rock over into this area? It's a lot of work, but it's either that or the lake takes all my shore.
Well, like I told the other person, the water levels are mostly about the fish and the spawning, mostly. Although it was very dry when or very low levels when they were spawning, right?
I'm not a big fish guy, but is this good for fishing when you have high water levels? I have no idea. Is that better for spawning? Is it?
Well, you got to keep the eggs covered. So I have a call into somebody that would tell me whether it was too low during the spawn and the high is too much.
Or it could be too high.
It could be too high based on how low it was. There's a bit of a calculation, and they're just trying to keep it up for a certain amount. Plus, they want to have a certain amount of water in the lake for the summer too.
Yeah, and then you have to. It's like a cocktail, right? They're trying to figure out what the proper mixture is, because are we getting more rain? Are we not getting more rain? Yeah. How do you?
They're damned if they do, damned if they don't. Most years.
Yeah,
and they have a big committee of a whole bunch of people trying to monitor all these different dams. Some of them are operated by independents. Some of them are hydro, right? So.
Have some neighbors. We were having a beer, and they were just talking about the one dam in Sargent, right, by the Sargent River. I said, but there's all sorts of other dams. They go so far north. There's a whole bunch. No, there isn't. There's only one dam. I go, no, there's many dams. I'm correct in that, right? There's many dams
all through the watershed. Really.
Yeah,
the big and the little Chaudier dams going out to the French. Those are the bigger dams.
And someone said, are all the dams serviced by government officials, or are some of them private?
Well, I believe some of them are private.
Really? Okay, I was surprised. But they had said that to me as well, and I go, I don't think any of them would be private. It would have to be, a government official that, decides all this, someone in the Ministry of
Well, there's a big
Environment or
committee
something.
with public service, M&R, MOE, all these people, they meet and they talk about what's the best thing to do for the levels at this moment.
Oh, so even private dams, they're still
They're in
talking
on that topic.
Okay.
Yeah, that conversation.
So they can't just open up their dam and...
No, they try to coordinate.
I met a guy a few years back, pre-COVID, and his whole thing was he got into that whole energy thing, and it was a lot in Southern Ontario. Started getting these little dams and buying these small dams for energy and hydro production. So and it was really interesting. He was really doing his thing and making some money from it, or buying them. The money would be
Several First Nation communities have done the same thing.
Yeah, super smart, right? Because Quebec did that with that massive hydro dam many, many years ago, and
flooded all the Cree. Yep.
Oh, was that what they did?
Off their traditional lands. Yeah, it was a big.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, there was a lot.
I was just thinking they made tons of money. I think isn't hydro cheap in Quebec?
They made lots of money.
Oh, and they flooded it all.
They just displaced, in niche territory, hunting territory. Trapping lines gone. Yeah, there was impacts to that.
Oh my
the whole
gosh,
James Bay thing. Yeah.
Okay, I'm depressed. We can't do anything right as a society.
There's impacts to everything we do. Yeah. There's a downside. There's a good upside.
Even the one where's it, down in the Sarnia area, and where that chemical plant, right, is right in the background of First Nation community. It's flowing, all that nastiness is flowing right into their
highest
community.
rates of deformities and real problems with their births. Yeah,
we have to do better, man. We have to do better.
The petrochemical, that wasn't good.
No, we have to do better. Do you think with the opening up of the Ring of Fire, and I've heard, the premier and different ministers saying this is and this is where you go, they said this is such a good thing for our First Nation communities, right? The roads, because currently they have to fly diesel in to run the machines that create electricity, right? This is going to be such a good thing. And as soon as a politician says that, I'm like,
it's scary, eh?
Just because we do a lot of work with the Anishinaabe Nation, right? And it's like, as soon as they say that, I go, oh, why did you say it? Because it can't be good. You've never come through on any of the goodness.
Yeah, no, it's time will tell, I guess. But the two communities at the front end and at the tail end of the Ring of Fire, they're going to get full-on development for sure. Whether that's a good thing in the long run, like isolationism has, I don't know if it's helped any communities, but definitely development has hurt a lot, right? Having road access means you have less ability to control what gets flown in, that's brought into the community, right? And that's the biggest thing when the flying communities, they're just trying to keep people from bringing booze and drugs in too, right?
Because you look at, and I don't know the whole story, but you look at if someone's building a chemical plant that you can actually see just at the edge of your community, I'm sure at one time the government would have said, oh, don't worry, we got you covered, right? It's like, no, you didn't. You did not have us covered.
The Chippewas of Sarnia have suffered through that, yes, for sure.
It's like, so my hope and my great hope in my rose-colored glasses is that we as a society, I hope, are going to do this right in partnership, which is part of the Robinson Huron Treaty, right? It's one bowl, two spoons. Like we share together in this, and we do it right.
Right on.
Thanks, Davey.
That's a nice thought.
Yeah.
It's good. It's the right thought.
It was one of the things I learned through working with the Anishinaabe Nation about, wampum belts, which was a contract, right? In back when these were formed. But here's the beauty of it, is that they're so simple, yet explain so much that we all understand what it means. One bowl, two spoons, and we're going to share. Yet you put a legalized contract in front of me, you, anyone. And who understands it? That's all we do is fight in court to interpret contracts constantly because what does that mean? Just make everything a wampum belt. Make it simple.
Well, the real trouble is in the details, right? So the treaties, all the wording, all the what they said and then what they wrote down are two different things. So
Right.
Details, devil's in the details.
Devil's in the details. So Lisa has an important podcast coming up about midwifery.
Mm-hmm.
I said that right, didn't I?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And you went through that process.
Yeah,
You had a
actually,
midwife at one time.
the lady that she interviewed was the midwife for my son.
Okay.
And my first and last wife.
First and last. There, we have it on tape. What's interesting is I never understood why you need a midwife. I don't get it.
Well, in the 90s, for one, when we're looking at having a child, it was the hospitals were not as open and comforting as some would want. A little bit sterile to go in there and have a baby.
I prefer my hospital sterile.
Some people
want
do.
a sterile.
Some people do. And, access to doctors. And
I've been in your living room. I don't want to have a child in your living room. That is not a sterile place.
Well, sterility is not good for your child, by the way. You need some bacteria. You need to be exposed to these things, man, or you end up with peanut allergies.
Yeah. So you did it for the peanut allergies.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. Anyways. Yes,
why did you want to have a baby at home?
Well, Karen had her first two children in a hospital, and she didn't want to have the third one in hospital. That's all you really need to know.
What, it was a bad experience, the first two, or?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, okay.
Right? So, having a midwife and having the baby at home, possibly in a bath, there was a whole lot of upside potential.
I hate cleaning the bath. You'd have to really clean your bath before you did that. Oh, it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
leave it to the professionals.
Yeah. Well, anyways, a lot of people prefer to have a different type of birth than what the hospital could offer at the time. Now, the midwives have been trying to push for access to the hospitals. They want to be recognized and paid as healthcare professionals. And at the time, they were really pushing for certification in college for midwives. And AVA was a big part of pushing that through. Unfortunately, she was so busy, there were so few midwives on the day Dylan decided to come into the world. She was busy with a couple others, and her assistant wasn't available or something like that. So we were doing it by the phone. The water had broke in the morning. She was telling us to time the contractions, right? And she'd be there once they start to get close or far, or I don't know, can't remember. Close, I think.
Yeah, they get closer together.
And, but through the day, the time the contractions didn't come, and she was dry because she lost her water in the morning. And so it was like by 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock, we had to do an emergency run to the hospital. And it turned out he was coming in breech.
Oh my gosh.
It was going to be a very dangerous birth.
Yeah.
And didn't know that. And so she ended up with an emergency cesarean, totally opposite of what she wanted, traumatized. And both of them could have died, really. Breech births can happen okay with both, but you need help, right? And we didn't have it. So it wasn't a great experience for us.
Well, and after that experience, I know you didn't have kids after that, but if you were to have, would you have tried it again?
Well, I'd leave that up to the mother. It's not my decision. I'm just there. That's one thing I learned. I wouldn't have a strong opinion either way, but I would have been well aware of the possibilities. I would have been a little extra cautious. I would have had Ava not be available for the first 3 hours. I would have went to the hospital quicker. Right? It was just people are trying to have a little bit different experience births, and I think it might be different in hospitals now. I think there's more access. Maybe there's more midwives. I don't know. But I'm very interested in seeing what Ava and Lisa talked about. I know there's still issues about midwifery, and I think May 5th is International Midwifery Day, so that's why it's airing on Thursday.
I don't have any issues against it in any way, shape, or form. I just don't understand why, it's kind of like, why does someone bungee jump?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Why take a risk? It's for the thrill.
Well,
it's for the thrill.
I actually did it once, but...
Did you?
Yeah.
Now, that said, we have an interesting component to our podcast. We have Uphar interviewing the mayor, Peter Chirico.
How did Uphar scoop you on the mayor?
Well, he didn't scoop me, but he was more welcome than I am. Uphar was interested in covering the Sikh flag raising that was last week.
Yeah.
And I lent up my camera and the microphone, and I showed him how to use it because he wants to develop his own podcast, right? So he's doing it on his own time. He was interviewing, and I did tell him, make sure you interview the mayor. And Peter spoke. But I guess when he went up to talk to the mayor, he was busy talking to some people, so he started interviewing councillors Jamie Lowry and Sarah Inch.
Okay.
And when he turned around, the mayor was gone. Busy guy. When I found out he hadn't interviewed the mayor, I said, Uphar, I will not let you start off your journalism career like this by missing the mayor. So Gord Young and I set up an appointment, and Peter was willing. And so Uphar went to his office and interviewed him there. Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
Was Uphar nervous?
Yes, he was.
He was?
Yeah.
Will we hear it in the interview?
No, I don't. Like Uphar, I just told him, just be yourself. Just be yourself. Everything will be 100%.
Agreed. Yeah.
And he's got a very humble way about him. Very smart. And he was prepared because we went over his questions before he got there. He was more prepared than I am for interviews. He did well.
Oh,
I was watching it on the weekend.
Yes. I want to hear this. Let's dive into this.
Uphar with the mayor. Uphar calls himself, his handle is North Bay's favorite international student. And let's listen to Uphar interview Mayor Peter Chirico.
Hey everyone, this is Uphar from NorthBayEcho, and this is NorthBay's favorite international student, by the way, and I'm here with the Mayor Peter Chirico. First of all, thank you, Mayor, for giving me this opportunity to letting me interview you. My first question to you is, Canada has always been a country of immigrants. I would like to know personally where your family belonged from and the story behind that.
Well, it's a long story. Big family. My mother's grandparents came here in 1876 from Ireland, and my father's parents came from Italy in 1902 to North Bay, settled in North Bay. We've been here since the 1800s and the 1900s, and now we have a large family of about 12 brothers and sisters, and most of us settled here in North Bay.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. Italians and Indians, we have big families, right?
Yes, we do. We absolutely do.
Oh, yeah. And my second question is, there was flag raising ceremony, and we celebrated Sikh Heritage Month here. I belong to a Sikh family myself, and it was great to see the recognition on behalf of the city. My question to you is, what does celebrating Sikh Heritage Month meant to city and to you personally as well?
Well, the face of our city is changing and has been changing over the past number of years with immigration the way it is, with our education system, and also our labor force, a requirement for new workers, employees in our business. And just like in the 50s after the war, we saw a lot of European immigration. Now we're seeing a lot from the eastern countries, and certainly from India, substantial. And the Sikh culture that is here today is growing. And last year, in comparison to this year, we saw more people. We saw more people from out of town coming in to celebrate with us for Sikh Heritage Month. And I think it's a great opportunity for the city of North Bay to welcome our Sikh friends the Sikh culture, the peaceful, the compassionate way of the Sikh people is welcome to North Bay, and certainly a number of Sikh friends that I've made over the past number of years is tremendous.
It's funny you mentioned about the workforce, right? And people coming from different parts of the world and joining the workforce here. I'm an international student, and I know a lot of people here who love the city, who are my fellow students, and they are highly skilled individuals. Like, they were accountants, they were part of big companies back home, and some of them were even in the administration. So my question to you is, what do you think what needs to be done to make sure the talent that the international students have here and really high skills is that the city can really utilize them, and how you can basically integrate them into the workforce?
Well, I think that we're seeing that happen right now with the immigration policies, and still some flux in the immigration, as we know, with the announcements last year and the beginning of this year. But at the same time, we're continuing on with our partnership with North Bay District Chamber of Commerce on the Rural Northern Immigration Program. The pilot has been extended, and so that is a great attraction. And our employers in our city are now seeing that that's a great way to get employees and people that want to work, people that love this country, people that have opportunities. And that's really what North Bay has been all the way along. It's a place for opportunities for people to grow, for raise their families, safe, stable employment, and we will continue to promote that.
I agree. I came here in September, and I've grown to love this city. And a lot of my friends who work here, they just love this city, especially the waterfront.
And that's even through the winter.
Oh, yeah.
And you haven't seen summer yet.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be great.
I sort of saw the fall, and it was beautiful. And it's funny. My CEO Scott was saying that it's the worst winter he ever had.
I would question Scott on that, because that's probably the mildest winter I've experienced, and I'm a lot older than Scott.
Oh yeah, he loves winter. That's why he said it's the worst. Yeah. So my next question to you is what I love about North Bay is that it's basically in the center of Ontario. There are these big economic hubs around. There's Sudbury only 1.5 hours away. Toronto is only 3 hours away. Ottawa is only 3-4 hours away, right? So I see a huge economic potential here. What do you think needs to be done, and you're currently doing, in making sure that new investments come here, new businesses come here, and North Bay really grow economically?
Well, one of the things that, and this council has embraced it, there's two things. One is cutting red tape, making sure it's easy for people to come to North Bay, invest in North Bay, and our economic development department does a terrific job in attracting, finding out who's looking, what's coming to North Bay, and then making the transition easy. When we take a look at our community and all of those other communities that want to be North Bay, because really, who wouldn't want to be North Bay? And we compete against those for those types of things. Our economy is not basically resource based. It's a lot of public service, university, hospital, college, all of those things that are major employees. So our economy is fairly removed from cyclical upturns and downturns that we see in other resource-based economies, Timmins, Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, those types of things. So North Bay is a great place to come. It's a great place to invest because of that stability that we offer here in North Bay, because of the nature of our businesses in North Bay. And so removal of red tape, make sure that people know where North Bay is. Make sure that they don't think it's Thunder Bay. That's another North Bay wannabe. But make sure that we have all of the amenities. And the second part of that is to make sure that we have housing and affordable housing. To do that, we've got a number of different initiatives moving forward. We certainly are encouraging the federal government and the provincial government to follow through on some of their promises to provide that affordable housing, and we will continue to push them for that.
Perfect, because my next question was going to be about housing. When I came here, a lot of students, they were struggling to find suitable accommodations here. Now there's a cap. You must have seen it. They have capped the entry of international students. What is your expectations regarding the coming, fall? And what do you think? Will North Bay be able to suit more housing? And what is your opinion on the international student cap in general?
Well, I think the cap itself was kind of a knee-jerk reaction by the federal government, and I hope that after more review that they'll be able to see that it is beneficial to our country. But we have to address that housing crisis. It was very encouraging to see the university and the college work together with the international students to make sure that every student had a place to live. And that was accomplished, in spite of some of the rhetoric that was around it at the beginning of the year. These student unions, the management, everybody worked hard to make sure that everybody had a place to live, and it was accommodated. Do we need more housing? Yes, we absolutely do need more housing. And again, we have to continue to fall back. As a community or as a city, we don't do affordable housing. We don't do supportive housing. That is under our social services board, but also we need the help from our senior levels of government to be able to get those housing units built, affordable, geared to income, special needs. We need to have that, and we continue to work with our Member of Parliament and our Member of Provincial Parliament to ensure that we do have those services available in the future.
I completely agree. Although initially there were challenges, but all of my friends, they did get the housing here. University and college especially, they worked together. They made sure that every international student does get accommodation here. And the city worked as well. So thank you so much for that. My final question to you is, there's a huge chat regarding having a cricket ground here. Now, I played cricket growing up back home, and there are, I'm pretty sure you talked with Romy Kumman. He's a great guy. He's also advocating for a cricket pitch here. A lot of neighboring cities, Sault Ste. Marie has a cricket pitch. Sudbury has a cricket pitch. Timmins has a cricket pitch. What I know you have approved it. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Our community would love to know.
Stay tuned. We've invested some money in the design, looking at the design. We're looking for a parcel of land that will possibly be able to hold it, because cricket pitch is a lot bigger than a baseball diamond in length and so on and so forth. And we look forward to serving all the needs of our citizens throughout North Bay, whether it be our East Indian friends, our Italian soccer players, our North American baseball players. All of these things make what our community is, and so we're working hard to get that in place. Can I give you an exact date? Stay tuned.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Peter, for your time. I know you're a busy man.
Nice to meet you, and welcome to North Bay, and I'm glad that you're making this your home.
I am making this my home. It is. The city has been incredible. The people, it's just been great. And
just a word of warning. Don't believe a word that Scott Clark says about me. Not a word.
Yeah, I love him, to be honest. He's, to be honest, the biggest shock for me was I'm just an intern, right?
I love him too, and give him a big kiss for me.
Oh, I don't know. I'll try. I'll give him a hug.
Okay, hug works.
Thank you so much, Peter, for your time. It's lovely to meet you. Hopefully, I see you around.
Absolutely, anytime. My door is always open for you.
Wow, he did a good job with Peter.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
I think local journalists should take a hint.
Yeah.
Take a hint. We got a new guy in town.
We got a new sheriff in town. Well, deputy sheriff in town.
Yeah, no, he did well. And it was really it was big of Peter to do that.
Yeah,
with him
Peter, thank you so much for doing that. I didn't know that was happening. And when I found out it did happen, I thought that was fantastic. So good on Peter.
There was another a wave sighting. Peter and I waved at each other, sort of.
Again?
Well, that was. Did we already mention that? It was at the show where he was.
The musical show.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He was a judge.
Yeah.
I think for a singing contest.
I think maybe one day we might have him on this show.
I got to tell him though, I'm not naturally a waver. I was raised in Cape Roll. You just nod.
You nod.
That's the
backwards
recognition.
nod.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, the backwards nod.
Yeah.
The chin goes back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Backwards nod.
Yeah. And that's, when I moved down to Toronto, I see everybody, I just go like this, right?
I used to live in Cape Earl. You go to Popeye's Pizza there. They had a Popeye's Pizza on Main Street. It was a terrific place.
Yeah.
Everything was owned by the Mazuka family.
Pretty well.
Yeah. It was a great little town. All my friends would come and you'd swim in the river, and it was really nice.
I grew up on that river.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was beautiful.
So yeah, people, if I don't wave at you and I just nod, that's actually me being affectionate. Friendly. That's me being friendly.
I believe it.
Yeah, so it's great. I'm hoping that Uphar can pull together a show and get some backing so we can develop a good show for him, right? So he needs sponsors, maybe some advertisers, and we're going to help develop a show for him. And I think it'll be a very interesting addition to the network.
I like it. I like the sound of this. We should talk it through. What it's on? Is it like current events? Is it whatever Uphar's interested in?
Whatever Uphar. I think it's going to be a discovery show of North Bay and issues that Canadians, new Canadians, and wannabe Canadians would be interested in. So it's got a kind of right now a broad sort of look, but see how it goes.
Yeah, I think one of the things I would be powerful is, speaking to, the new Canadians that are here in our community, right? So that they have a platform to discuss about, coming here, what it's like living here in North Bay. I only know what I know, but what's it like for everybody else?
Well, he wants to interview a series of people that have come here and invested here and their experience being here in North Bay.
Love it. I really like that.
That's going to be a good show.
Yeah, I think that's a good show.
Well, that's all you really need to know from us. It's the Echo Essentials podcast.
I'm Scott Clark.
And I'm Dave Dale. Have a good day.